Call the meeting to order. Roll call.
President Andorf.
Here.
Vice President Langley.
Here.
Director Christensen.
Here.
Director Diaz.
Here.
Director Toon.
Here.
All present.
Okay. Travis, would you read our mission statement?
Yeah, you bet. Our mission is to develop knowledgeable, skilled, and productive citizens of character.
Okay. I'd like to recognize our guests tonight. Welcome everyone for being here. Open the floor for public forum. Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to approval of a consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Have a motion, get my stuff in order here. Have a motion by Director Toon, have a second by Director Christensen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Moving on to reports, we'll have the superintendent's report.
All right. Well, we have a number of things to cover, but we'll make it as brief as possible. First of all, the NPRA, the Paraeducator Registered Teacher Para-Registered Apprenticeship. Mr. Diaz may want to speak to this. Just wanted to give a quick overview because that grant is coming to a close. So just so the board knows, we had 29 paras that entered the program, 24 finished with some kind of certification. So that's a plus. We had some teachers out of that are continuing to, 2 of them that have been hired, and then we have some that are going to, I think there's 3 or 4 that are going to continue. But as of now, after meeting with Eddie, Dallin was there, the TPRA people, there's a little bit of money left, but not enough to continue having people go. So I wanted you to be aware of that. So again, thanks to Eddie Diaz for nudging us forward on this because it was a lot of work. But now we are reaping the rewards and we can reflect back and say, hey, 29 people or 24 people are at a point of earning different certificates that wouldn't have probably have done that. So I think that's overall a plus. Eddie, what else do you want to add with that?
So yeah, I'm just passing the numbers that Clark just mentioned. I think at some point, once things are settled down, there's got to be a way for us to magnify this. If you remember the numbers, we blew every one of those metrics out of the water. How many teachers we wanted, how many paras we wanted. And so I think it was a very good program. One of the things I'd like to at some point develop is a budget report because it was also a revenue generator for the school district. So I'll get some concrete numbers, but just to give you a good idea, for the wages that the paras were reimbursed by this grant. Mm-hmm. And so we used those wages to help offset some costs that went to the general fund. I think at some point I need to give a concrete number, but a significant number of those monies went back and helped the school district. So on top of all these folks getting their education, becoming better paras, better some of them teachers, the school district got a little bit of money, and then these folks got $3,000 stipends each semester. So there was an incredible amount of work, but I think it was a pretty good. We're still not done. There's still a little bit of work to do.
Yep. Oh, there is.
But the official date is December.
Yeah. And many schools started this program, many did not finish. So a little perseverance on Perry Community Schools, and kudos to everybody that worked their tails off as well as the paras. So that's a little update. Anything else, Eddie, on that?
I think that's it. Okay.
Hey, next one, Perry Elementary construction update. If you get a chance, go by Perry Elementary. The structures for the playground are starting to go up. Rough grade is happening. Finish grade is happening. We hope by next week, probably the end of next week, the poured in place will start to go in tomorrow, but have everything completed by the end of next week. Now, there still is going to be a lot of dirt out there. A lot of seeding is going to be taking place, but there won't be grass immediately, as you guys well know. But be working on that. The good news is I think that we can manage it because there will be sidewalks. There are sidewalks that go out to each of the playgrounds. So if they have to go in one line and get there, then so be it. But hopefully we get a little bit of luck on rain, and they're going to be watering that. So that's a little bit on the Perry Elementary construction, which focuses right now with playground. August in-service, you guys should have the August in-service. A couple of key dates there. You're invited to any of the events, but I just wanted to narrow it down to two because I realize many of you have some other priorities in your life. But August 13th, 8 o'clock, we welcome the new teachers right here in Brady Library. So August 13th, then the 22nd, 7:45, we'll have breakfast for the staff, a light breakfast, and then 8:30 we'll do a little welcome in the pack. So you're welcome to any part of that, but I wanted to just highlight those two things. Title funds.
Where's the breakfast at?
Right here.
Right here?
Yep, high school
Okay.
will be in the Commons, and then we'll walk over to Perry Pack. Okay? Next up, title funds. Sent a letter out to you probably, was it 4 weeks ago or so, and these title funds had been frozen, which equaled $220,000 for Perry schools. There's lots of different conversations with legislative people. I'll give kudos to Congressman Zach Nunn, who responded right away, agreed that we need to have these funds released. So not only through Zach Nunn, but I think a number of people across the United States were saying these funds are for kids to help them with reading, and it isn't for anything else other than that. So they did release the funds. We haven't seen them yet, but we are supposed to be getting those, just to let the board know
All the
about.
applications have been approved.
That's good.
Question on that, Clark.
Yep.
You know, I've read that document and I've done additional, is there any long-term implications? Like, is this something that's going to be reviewed again next year? Should it come back? or-
I am sure that it will be, but I have not heard that. That'll be the next step. The first one was to make sure that we identify that we already have contracts out, we've already invested in people. That's not the time that you want to tell us about a cut. So I would guess that it will be looked at each and every year. Our ask is learn more about it, and if there are going to be any freezes or cuts, let us know before contracts go out.
Right.
So I don't know though for a fact on that one. Next up, SRO status. Tomorrow we meet with Landon Goose, who is going to be our new SRO. And we want to talk about partnership, we want to talk about expectations. Our expectations, he's going to meet with the principals, and we are going to talk about, he needs to cover all of the buildings each and every day, as long as there's not emergencies that he has to go to. And we're going to work through a schedule. We do want doors checked. We want to be very visible. And I think that he's going to work hard to get that kind of job done. Because just so the board knows, we are now down to the one SRO, which I think we've talked about before, because that grant has expired. So the first week of school, the Perry Police has ensured me anyway that they will be very visible. They will be out at the entrance, and they'll be there at the beginning of the day, and hopefully then at the end of the day, as much as they can. Okay? So that's the SRO status. Looking forward to that meeting tomorrow. Continuing.
Clark,
Yep.
Question on that one. What type of training is this SRO getting beyond?
Well, he's getting, I know last week or 2 weeks ago, he was at SRO training for the week. So I haven't been to those. I don't know that part. Other than every SRO that we've had, even back to Mike Ware days and those, I don't know how much the training has changed, but that's what has been done.
Last time we had this meeting, I asked if he could come at some point. Is that something that we could put
Yep.
him on for the next
You bet.
board meeting?
Yep. We wanted to talk to him, get his feet under, on the ground a little bit, and then, but we'll have him here. And he seems excited, seems passionate, and he's got some good energy.
And his mom's now teaching for the school district.
Yes, has a Perry contract, will be at St. Pat's.
Right.
And that's his mother?
Correct.
She lives in town, she's super excited, and I'm crazy excited about this guy coming on board. I just think
Well,
it's important to set
Yeah.
the foundation, and it sounds like you're doing
Absolutely.
that already.
yeah.
So what is his background?
Well, Perry Police, Police Academy. Background other than that, I wasn't part of the interview. I know we had 2 administrators. Any of you guys a part of that? Who is Brad was and Ned, or?
Yeah, Ned talked to me, he said the guy's very strong with relationship building, and he's gonna be very visible and very, very much in throughout the building.
Okay.
So it'll be a huge.
Also heard that he's been at the elementary school from time to time and will go out and play kickball with the kids, and really had a good interactions with the kids from what I heard too.
He's been with the department for a little less than 5 years, so he's a bit younger. He's married to Jana Kenny.
Yeah,
Correct.
Tina would be his mother-in-law.
Yeah. So
Start a new
he's
dynasty.
at the rec center working out with them. So he's definitely.
Well,
Getting more
and
presence.
Chief Archer, we've had a lot of separate conversations there as we looked at that transition and talked about the expectations of what we needed to ensure that people can feel entrusted with us. So,
Good.
okay, talked about Congressman Nunn. There was, I haven't sent this to the board, but I have a little something that I sent to our admin, and I'm going to bring it up and then I'll talk about that just in a little bit. Talked about the Perry Elementary Playground, talked about SRO, August in-service, TPRA. So I think right now that will be it. The SiteLogic, Rick, will be here next month. Then we're going to start getting into the rest of the renovation. Okay? So let me check my notes if there's anything else. I'll look that up, and then as we go, I'll
Okay. All right.
see if we can get that. Any questions on anything? No? All right.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Commendations.
Oh, we'll get that right now, too. All right. Commendations to Josh V. Van Nordman, Ryan Jolivet, and Matt Hardy for heading up the summer PSP program, Perry Strength and Performance Program. We average 140 athletes per day, youth through high school, and had 22 different coaches that are on staff assisting with the program. Big shout out to Tina Luderman, who really brainstormed this and got it organized, and it was part of a fundraiser too to help pay for Josh, Ryan, and Matt, not out of the general fund, all right? But we are paying them, but we are going to be getting reimbursed, and so it was really exciting, not only on the last day, but throughout that whole 7 weeks, to see kids coming 6 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't believe there was always 15 or 20 of them there. And then they had people then throughout the morning. So both boys and girls, kids showed a lot of growth. We'll look at that growth once they have got the data marked out as far as the different growth that kids have made. So also, thanks to our paint crew for work throughout the district. The crew was awesome this year. Painted a great deal throughout middle school and the high school, and just really tickled for the work that they did. I do have one other update. The Booster Club has been a big booster for our organization up in the storage area here at the high school. They purchased fencing so that we could have storage pods. Joe, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I can't remember how many sections there are up there. I think 22 or something like that.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Enough for all the activities for Booster Club and a couple extra.
Yeah.
Or undetermined at this point. They're all going to have gates on them so that they can be secured. And it's just nice and organized.
Yeah.
Now, it's not fully done. They're still working on that.
Right.
I think that is an expense of around $30,000, I think, that the Booster
Yeah.
Club donated for that job.
That's huge. So kudos to the Booster Club. If you want to, we can go up there afterwards. It's kind of cool to see because maybe you didn't see it before, but
Just piles of stuff everywhere.
Piles of
Yes.
stuff everywhere. And it's going to be a huge thing. I also want to give a quick update on the gymnasiums. If you would go over to the high school gymnasium, you'll still see a lot of the equipment in there, and they're continuing to dry out. We met with them last week. They do the moisture measurements throughout the floor. It's making progress, but the week that it was really hot and high humidity did not allow us to make the progress needed. So we didn't want to rush it. We've been in contact with EMC to make sure that we do not make any decisions that will jeopardize us down the road if things don't work out. I think that I just checked it before the board meeting, and some of the spots that we were checking just through the hand, not the instrument that they use, but I think it's getting better, and it's making progress. I hope within a week we can get out there, and that's what they thought. But they'll come back, take the measurements. Middle school, they did the process of scratching that up, getting it all roughed up, got it vacuum clean, and then put on the finish work. So hopefully that was enough to get that middle school floor, which was slipperier than all get out, and I hope that helps. So our 2 gymnasiums hopefully will be intact here within the week or so. So that's it.
Okay. All right, general business. Approved contract for transfer of state funding.
Okay, in your package you will see the agreement with AA, as you well know, is doing an overhaul via legislators. So the situation is 90% of what was our flow-through money is going to go to the AEA, 10% will go to the school. Dallin, anything else from your angle that the board should know with that?
No, just that this contract basically formalizes that we will pay over 10 months, very similar to how we receive our state aid money from the state. So we get that in 10 equal installments. We pay the 90% to the AEA in 10 equal installments, which will be done after the state aid payment is done. I met with Brian Whalen, who is the business manager at the AA a couple of weeks ago. You'll notice the one addendum or edit to the contract. The original contract said that we would pay via direct deposit. We do not have to. So that was the only change. Other than that, we will write the check usually the Friday or so after we get our state aid payment. So that way we get their cash flow okay, but we don't negatively impact our cash flows.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Director Christensen, a second by Director Landgrave. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Okay. Approved cooperative sharing agreement with Kenora for high school girls swim for 2025.
All right, these cooperative sharing agreements are somewhat common. Talking to athletic directors, this is one in which we feel is going to be a benefit for us as well as Panorama, and have talked to not only Tina but Coach Gene Dowd, the swimming coach, and both feel the sharing agreement will be positive for the swim team.
I'll make a motion.
Quick question.
Yep.
Has Panorama had a swimming program, or is this new to them? Or?
They've shared with us for a number of years,
I
yeah.
didn't realize that.
Yep.
They got us this last time this came up. How does it benefit to us?
Well, I think whenever you bring in some other students that can increase our competition, I think that it's going to help because usually we don't have enough swimmers to fulfill all of that. So the other part of it, Eddie, in my mind is this too. We've been on the reverse of this, where we've asked to do cooperative agreements in athletically mainly, and I think it has helped. So I don't think it's a hurt, but that's what they,
I've had this conversation with you, so I'll just bring it up to the board. So the landscape of education has changed dramatically, and it's a very competitive environment now. I would be worried, and it's not the case now, but long-term, worried if we have open enrollment kids going to another school district and then coming back to take advantage of the expensive program that we're trying to offer.
right.
I think that is a recurring concern for me, so.
I would agree in those
I would say
particular
keep an eye on
cases.
that. And
Yep,
then the other thing I brought up previously is numbers. So I think I'm interested in seeing numbers and participation rates.
Okay.
Because we've cut academic programs left and right and have not done so with activities programs as much. And I think it's time to start looking at that.
and I can assure you too, Tina and I have had that conversation, and she has combed those different activities. So we'll bring a report to you guys as far as participation in those different activities, just so we're aware of that.
Participation, I think, I could be wrong, but I think when you're talking swimming, they don't split them up into classes.
No, it's all one
most
class.
sports. So Perry's competing with Dowling and Waukee.
Yep, that's accurate.
So more numbers for us is better. I understand your concern, and I'm not opposed to that concern.
On that same issue, the numbers are pretty small in some of those programs. I think it's something to look at cutting a coach. And I'm not speaking specifically about swimming. But
Right.
if your numbers don't reach a certain threshold, I don't think it's right to have some sports with a 15 to 20 to 1 ratio.
Yeah.
And then another sport with this 10 to 1 ratio. So I know there's concerns about, we've talked about this,
Yep.
but I'll keep bringing that up, that unless we start recouping some of those academic programs that we've cut, I think we need to start looking at other stuff.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I got the second on that. Joe, was that your second? Okay. So the motion on the floor, it was motioned by Director Landgraf, seconded by Director Toon. Do we have any additional discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Approve revision of policy 102.E1, annual notice of non-discrimination.
All right, this is the annual notice. The changes here would be Mandy Ross will be with Title IX as opposed to Kevin Bittiger. Also for our 504 coordinators will be Adam Jessen and Adam Churchma, who are here tonight. But those are the changes for this.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Director Landgraf, a second by Director Christensen. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Approve revisions of board policies 605.4 to 605.7.
Alrighty. Policy number 605.4, there were no changes. That's for technology and instructional materials. Reviewed as of today's date. Code number 605.5, school library. We added some language consistent with all applicable laws and board policy. And we deleted according to board policy. Added some legal references, Iowa Code 256.11.9, also 279.850 and 80, and 280.6, and then 281 Iowa Administrative Code 12.310, and we deleted IAC 12.3, 11, and 12. And again, reviewed and revised as of today's date. Code number 605.6, internet appropriate use. We've added some language. The district recognizes the importance of developing students into agile learners who are capable of addressing the complex needs of our future workforce. For this reason, the district has prioritized making available technology and programs that teach students to embrace modern technology and tools while fostering a secure learning environment for students to the extent reasonable. We deleted the language, if a student already has an electronic mail address, the student may, with the permission of the supervising teacher, be permitted to use the address to send and receive mail at school. And then we added language, students may be permitted to use district-issued email addresses and internet-based collaboration software to send and receive messages at school. Further on down, the standards and acceptable use of internet services as set forth in the internet safety policy, which we eliminated those 4 words and added this policy and regulation. Also changed a capital W to a small w in talking about websites. Added the language that they further on down in the policy. Also added cross-references 604.11 appropriate use of online platforms and 605.7 use of information resources. Again, reviewed and revised as of today's date. Code number 605.6E1, internet access permission letter to parents, no changes to that. Also no changes to code number 605.6E2, internet appropriate use violation notice. Let's see, code number 605.6R1, internet appropriate use regulations. We added individual internet-based collaboration software under internet access, and we deleted the language at this time. Also, bullet point number 4, we deleted to reduce unnecessary system traffic and changed that to promote accountability, and then added the word only. Bullet point number 6, system users will, and then we deleted this, perform a virus check on downloaded files to avoid spreading computer viruses. And we added follow district cybersecurity policy and procedures to ensure network security. We eliminated permission to use internet. Annually, parents will grant permission for their student to use the internet using the prescribed form. Under student use of internet, under equal opportunity, we eliminated the language of the amount of time available for each student may be limited by the number of available terminals and the demands for each terminal. Code number 605.6R1 on page 2, we changed the language from online adequate to online protocol. And under bullet point number 3, we eliminated always acknowledge receipt of a document or file. No changes to code number 605.7, use of information resources. Reviewed as of today's date. And finally, code number 605.7R1, use of information resources regulation. No changes.
Motion to approve.
First of all, thank you for reading through all of those, Max.
You're welcome.
Have a motion by Director Landgraf, a second by Director Toon. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Approve 2025-2026 Student Activities Department Handbook.
Okay, and in your packet, you'll see the student activities program, and then some of the changes are highlighted in that.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Director Landgraf, a second by Director Christensen. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Personnel, hires and resignations.
Okay, at your spot, you have the updated personnel file with hires, resignation, 1 modification.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Director Diaz, a second by Director Christensen. Any additional discussion?
Just a
What,
comment.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
What's the acronym AEAP stand for? Ms. Finn?
Oh, that's, that is part of our AEAP is the name of the grant.
Anti-terrorism.
And you want to know what it stands for, and I'll have to come up with that one, but it,
Anti-terrorism.
yeah, it's,
There's no T in there.
So is Chris gonna come back and just do some small stuff, or is that just kind of a role that she's gonna fill in? Is she gonna actually, like, what?
Full-time or part?
yeah, it's 12 hours a month.
Oh, okay.
And think of Mandy Ross's position.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She will be taking that
Good for
one.
her.
not just for we're not calling it recovery anymore, but it's wellness, health, mental, physical, and there's a number of things in that grant. So when she gets on board, Mandy and Chris, again, will let the board know some of the different outcomes, but in a sense, it'll be Mandy's
Okay.
position.
Sounds good.
And a little bit more. in
Didn't know
that
we had one, so that
They
was.
they changed the title when
It's like
Chris applied
emergency
for it.
action, it's like anti-terrorism and emergency action
Yeah.
preparedness.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, sounds great.
That may not be the exact wording, but it's
Yeah.
very close to that.
Just to comment on Laura Goose, I think is how you pronounce her last name. She, so you're aware, Perry Economic Development and the Perry Chamber have a relocation package, we'll call it. So she was able to receive some of that. So it's only some small amount of money, but they got that, then they get a membership at the country club and Snap Fitness discounted rate for the membership, so.
That is worth coming to Perry right there.
Take care.
And, yeah, so
And,
she was very appreciative.
Coach Luderman, Coach Morris, those jobs are going to remain open, they're just filling in? unless-
They're going to be, well, they're going to be, right now, just to back up just a little bit on that one, multiple conversations on this topic, because the first choice isn't to do what we're doing right now. But there were no viable candidates at this time. We need to make a commitment, some way, shape, or form, to these individuals because volleyball starts soon. Okay? So we're looking at this year for the volleyball as well as the high school. Now, if we would have some coach that would come in that would have credentials and this and that, we would have to talk, obviously, with Coach Morris and, if this approved, but we have talked to multiple people. And I'll be right up front, this isn't what I wanted. I know it's not what Tina wanted, but here's the positive. Both Tina and Dave, head coaches. Number two, Dave, Coach Morris has been working with the girls on his own this summer because we did not have a coach. Number three, in talking to the girls, they are very excited to have Coach Morris. I had a one-on-one visit with Coach Morris, my concerns, being able to handle the schedules. So we went through, and I have them here if you guys want to see them, but they have already created schedules that would allow girl practices, boy practices. We talked about games, the importance of not only coaching during a game, but then you have your post-game conversation with the team. Now you got the other one, having pre-game. We talked about just the duration of basketball is long. So we talked about health, we talked about mental health, we talked about all those things. And one of the things that he told me that helped was this. He coaches and has coached, I think it's the Corn Sharks, that's a basketball program team in the summer. And one of the things, though, that was interesting, he said, because I said, how are you going to do this? What experience have you had other than coaching head boys? Now you're coaching two. How can you manage these two things going on simultaneously? He said, well, for the Iowa Corn Sharks, he said he used to have tournaments that had up to 50 teams, and he was also coaching at the same time. And he said, for me to manage all the officials, all this, and then coaching, he goes, this will seem very manageable. So it always is good to have somebody with experience, with head coaching experience, which he does, obviously. So does Tina, not in volleyball, but in her softball, and she's coached volleyball. Here's the other thing that I think was huge for me. Both are very passionate about these sports. I didn't realize Tina was as passionate about volleyball as she is. She said she loves volleyball. Dave Morris, I've never seen a guy that I've talked to that wants to coach two sports simultaneously, and he he has the right temperament. He's not a fireball, and a yeller or anything like that. He's even keeled.
Very low-key.
So with all that being said, I feel comfortable that this is going to be good for student athletes, the best that we can offer. Okay? Not ideal. For 1 year, Dave, I think, would like to continue, but I said, let's just look at this year if the board approves this.
So this is, so he's committed, we've committed to him for the girls. I mean, if we had a coach that came in and won multiple state champions at another school, how would we address that?
It'd be a difficult one, Joe, because we have if this is approved, this is a contract, but it is one that's easier than a teacher contract.
Sure.
If that person's around, we would take a look at it, yeah. Because we've been combing and making contacts around. Before we said anything to it, we were contacting other schools about their assistance and what the possibilities were. In this day and age, the deal is this: to bring just a coach in, it's very, very unique. It's not impossible. There are those folks out there, but we'd have to work through it. First of all, I have to see if that candidate's viable and really wants to do that. I'd say, where were you when we were doing all this earlier? But, you never know. Things pop up at different times. So.
And we have hired people who have come just as the coach.
Oh,
And then we usually only have them for 1 year, and then they move on.
girls basketball last 2 years.
Yeah.
Just, wasn't a teacher.
Football coach before Josh.
Yep, exactly.
They come and they don't stay. They
Yeah.
move on.
Hey, at other schools, smaller than ours, if you would comb the whole state, there are multiple ADs, and Dowling being one, for example. AD, head football coach. There's smaller schools all around where it's an AD and whatever the case might be, pick your sport. Again, for us, I still don't think it's ideal, but I do feel we're very fortunate we have two that would even step up. If the situation was reversed, I don't know who you could convince to come in and do that. No, you need to do this and this. So, anyway, that's it.
So how will it work when the girls are traveling, the boys are at home, or vice versa?
They've gone through that schedule. There's not going to be any situation, practice-wise, game-wise. There's only one conflict that Tina has, and it's already been taken care of. She has volleyball one night when I think the boys open up for football away, but we'll have that covered either through myself, Andrew, admin, whatever the case might be.
Okay.
So, all practices, all games. Again, I have that schedule if you'd ever like to see it, or if you want to talk to Tina too, but I said we have to go through every day and see what that is. So that was the one conflict.
Okay.
And you did indicate that after the first game and the coach is doing a wrap-up with the team, there's someone else to get the next team out and practicing, and we wouldn't necessarily need the head coach there at that point.
And as you guys know, pregame, that's usually kids could run that themselves. They should be able to if the coaches have their act together, which they will. But we'd have an assistant. We still need assistant for girls. So we're still working on that.
Basketball,
Yeah.
those are both girls' sports.
What's that?
You said for girls, but volleyball's a girl's sport too.
Yeah, volleyball, there's assistance for that.
Assistant for that.
But not for girls basketball. Yep.
And I will add my 2 cents as well. I mean, until soccer really became a much bigger participation sport, even at the Division III collegiate ranks when I started officiating college 20 years ago, it was not uncommon for the same coach to be the head men's and women's coach, even at the Division III collegiate level. Ideal? No, and now you very rarely see that, but there was a time when that was very common at the collegiate level where you'd have the same coach, and it was the same thing. The assistant would run would run the warm-up, and I know from experience with my son playing club soccer for a number of years, the kids can do their own, they can pretty much do their own warm-up. And in college basketball, like I was telling Clark, a lot of times you don't see TJ Otzelberger or Ben McCollum now, I almost said Fran McCaffrey, or Brad Underwood at Illinois. They usually don't come walking out until 2 minutes before tip-off. So just a couple extra data points.
One for me, one of the schools I work with is hired a principal, is also going to be their head football coach. So it's getting pretty interesting out there. So
Yeah.
just lots of things. I think, I really got to applaud your creativity. Like the number of challenges for staffing and how we always come up with solutions is impressive. These two specific people, I think you hit it on, are probably unique in their ability to do that. I would remind us that we probably need to do a different marketing approach, because I think a lot of folks rely on word of mouth or that there's people looking for these jobs. But I always mention there's people out there we don't know are out there, and I rarely see us promote these opportunities. I know we're promoting the IJAG opportunity right now, which I think there might be a possibility to get a 2-for-1 and find somebody that wants to do IJAG at $50,000 and then maybe a coach on the side. That's how we got Josh. And I'm happy to help with the flyers. I just think we need, especially for an assistant coach. I mean, I think if all of us had that flyer, all of us could share it with our contacts, and it just multiplies the reach that we have.
We'll mention, I'll talk to Tina, especially on the volleyball one right now, that, or basketball, I mean, that is going to be key, especially in this situation.
Well, I've got a question. I see Troy's in the room. With Mike Ware transferring from Woodward and the town shuttle, do you still have a Woodward route, or do you have that covered, or?
Just filled it today,
Oh, good.
so we have another yellow bus route open. So we'll fill that. The position will be posted tomorrow.
Okay.
Are you looking to fill it?
I got enough to do, no. So.
We're just checking though, this is our recruiting time that
this is
we're
our
talking about.
recruiting here.
We're going to do it through the board.
So my class is September 3rd, you know?
Okay, you don't have to do that anymore though, do you?
Yes, we do.
Oh, you
Our
do?
annual training we have to do,
Okay.
not new driver training.
Okay. All right. No, I'm good.
September 3rd, Max.
Give me time to think about it.
I'll give you Lori's number so you can register yourself.
Okay.
I just registered our drivers.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any additional discussion on the personnel report? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No?
Motion carries.
We have no late items on our agenda. Board comments, and I will go ahead and start with that because last month I passed out to everyone Robert's Rules of Order in the running of a meeting and how the things that we follow, and we do not necessarily follow Robert's Rules of Order specifically, and so Dallin, Clark, and I have kind of had a conversation about that, and we did do a Robert's Rules of Order simplified and passed out last month with the idea that we would discuss that this month and what kind of changes we think that we need to implement regarding our meeting. Because if we follow Robert's Rules of Order specifically, we do not do that. And you know, the running of the meeting could get considerably longer if we did. Because based on Robert's rules, everything has to have a first, a second, and a vote in order to discuss it.
Now, hold on. So just the key thing is the motion and the second.
Yeah.
But then once the vote occurs, then we move on to the next agenda item and then hold off on any any post-vote commentary until we get to our board comments.
Right,
Which tonight, I
Yeah.
think was
So far,
100%.
yeah. So just any discussion that we might have on the Roberts rules that we did pass out last month, asking people to kind of check those out and look through them. Because what we've been doing presently is that our agenda items are part of the consent agenda, and we do approve that at the beginning of the meeting, so we would not need to do each and every agenda item and introduce them and have an approval to discuss, because we would have already have done that. What we are currently doing is reading the item, and Clark gives a little bit of an introduction, and then the board discusses, we have questions, and then we do the motions for the vote. With that vote, then all discussion on that topic is supposed to end unless you choose to discuss something during board comments. There've been a few times in which we've done the vote and then somebody interjects a question or interjects a comment, and that is not necessarily the way that we're being told is the way we need to conduct our business. So, comments on that?
Do it just like you did tonight.
Yeah.
Boom.
So my understanding was that Roberts could make it more efficient. I didn't know it could extend it.
We're not
If it makes
doing
it
that
more
part.
efficient, then I think it makes sense. I agree with the post-commentary piece, but that would still give us time to discuss in between.
Right.
That's why we have, the
Right.
motion and the second for the agenda.
Right.
And I mean, like, what we did with the personnel report is pretty much textbook.
Yeah.
You know, we had the motion, had the second, had a lengthy discussion, a lot of different people provided their thoughts on that, closed the discussion, went to the vote, and then we moved on to board comments.
So is your impression that this would make it more efficient or longer?
I think it would make it more efficient.
Efficient.
And also, just to make sure that we don't have that point where we close the vote, and then somebody has a
Yes.
question or a comment, and then we spend, and I've seen this in other districts where I've been, where that last question turns into a 20-minute discussion. Not saying it's been done here, because it hasn't, but we can sometimes get that, I've seen that in other districts where I've been a part of.
It'll
where-
snowball, and that discussion continues on and gets a bit off track.
So as long as we don't forget to open it up to discussion,
Yeah.
because that sometimes happens?
And I did that, I kind of got through that on the AEA one,
Yeah.
but yes, I mean, the discussion is always after the second.
Right.
Which is, like I said, if we audio tape the personnel discussion, that's exactly how we're supposed to do it.
Okay.
Okay? Any questions, concerns, or, because I know there are other meetings in which they run it very, very strictly with Robert's rules, and you have a motion and a second to even discuss, and then a motion and a second to take care of your business, and it kind of bogs it down a little bit.
We didn't want to do that. I don't think you guys want to do it either.
No.
So,
Okay.
Seems to be like the way I feel like we handle most of the meetings, so I guess I don't see any issue if this is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think my key thing, having attended several meetings even before being at the table, is just from past experience at other districts, that post-vote question or post-vote comment sometimes snowballs. But if we do that during board comments,
Yeah.
it still gives everybody the opportunity to provide commentary on that. We keep things moving forward as opposed to getting stuck on a particular agenda item once that discussion closes. I mean,
And once the vote has been
And once the
taken,
vote is
then
done.
we move on. And it's,
Yeah.
and any thoughts that people might have about, oh, I forgot to ask that, those need to come during board comments, as opposed to going back and trying to redo.
last thing,
Makes sense.
for the board, once you make a vote, what this process will do is, and has done, is make sure that we make a vote, but let's say a board member disagrees, hey, we still move forward as a board, and we're going to support whatever the board
Whatever the
decides.
board decides.
So.
Even if it's not
And
what
it
you
doesn't
would've
give
voted.
somebody then to grandstand on their no vote or yes vote or whatever it might be. So that will help. We don't have that issue here, we just don't want to have that issue. And so,
And that's where board comments come into play as well.
And it was, all of this came from Dallin, who has other kinds of experiences bringing in to us, and, it was a conversation that we had, so.
Linda, once the board is done with comments, and I just have 2 other things that I wanted to read to the board, just so they're aware of it when you're done.
Nope. That can be part of your board comments.
Or superintendent comments, yeah.
Okay.
I have just letting everybody know, I have a scheduling conflict for next board meeting.
September, okay.
So I unfortunately cannot be here if it's on the 8th of September.
All right,
So I'm just
Thank you for
letting
letting us know.
yeah. Anybody else for that? We have 4, then we'll be in good
Yeah,
shape.
we'll be
I just
fine.
wanted to let
Okay,
everybody
thank
know
you.
that
What's the date, September what?
September 8th.
Okay.
That should be right.
Just found out today that Connie Science, who was our DMEC advisor, myself, and a couple of DE folks are going to be presenting for the Iowa Association of School Board Convention.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So I know
good.
a couple of you typically go, so.
Yeah.
We're going to be presenting on that Future Ready Perry
Oh,
initiative that we've
yeah.
been doing.
Oh, great.
So, just for you, those that are not aware, that grant allows Connie to be in the building at the high school twice a week.
Yep.
So, she's provided a lot of support, and if you guys are there,
Good.
stop by.
Any other comments by the board?
Okay, real quick on your tour around Perry for school-related things, mention the playground. Also take a look at the Perry Middle School entrance. It had more rust on the front of it, on the overhang, than it did blue paint, I think. So take a look at that.
Did that come
And-
to life from the drone video on the website?
What's that?
Did that come to life from the drone video on the website?
Well, I'm not sure it might have, but it much improved. So that will be part of the tour. Natalie's garden. Natalie was an elementary teacher many years ago, died suddenly, I think at 25 years old. It was quite a tragedy for our Perry Elementary staff. Anyway, we had a Natalie's garden. It's kind of outgrew itself. Take a look, it's at the front. It'd be on the front of Perry Elementary on the south side. We're shrinking it, still respecting Natalie, and we'll have her plaque there too. So those are 2 additions. Last thing, I'm going to send you this, I'll just give you the title, but I'll send you the information. None delivers community support following Perry facility shutdown. And you can read through that. I'm going to read this. A 6-month supply of breakfast sandwiches to keep school carts fully stocked for students. I don't know the logistics of any of that, and so we're going to have to work it out, but he had been working on Tyson to try to make things right, and so there's a number of things. I'll send it to you, won't read it, but be looking for that.
He's been quite responsive.
Yes.
I'm quite impressed with
Yep.
the work he's done for us, so.
Yes, I would agree.
Very responsive.
Yep, on that title thing, he called within probably half an hour
Yeah.
of my call to him, and thought, well, this is kind of a surprising deal, but,
I was very impressed.
yeah.
Kudos to him for reaching out to little Perry here.
yeah,
And
you bet. He has a nice quote in here too that
Very
you'll
nice.
read, so those are the teasers when you get this, okay?
yeah.
All right,
Let me get reelected.
that's it then. Enjoy your tour.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
If anybody wants to take a tour of those, that supply or all the,
Just to make it official,
All those in
all in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're done. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
whoops, we about messed up Robert's rule right there. So.
I'd like to take a tour.